Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and having a great ending to your day and a great weekend out there so far as we make our way on through it. I got you a pretty big update on what's to come. That's going to be broken up in about 3 or 4 sections. There's 3 things that we really need to talk about, and I know we've been through a lot over the last 7 to 8 days. But unfortunately, we have another powerful storm system that is not going to take the exact same track, but a similar track. Meaning some of the same areas will see snow and some of the same areas will see significant severe weather. As far as the snow, this could be an incredible, maybe historic early April blizzard for certain areas of the northern plains. We need to talk about that. We're obviously going to talk about the severe weather events for Tuesday. And then there's an event on its own for tomorrow that has nothing to do with the event coming up for Tuesday that could be a sneaky tornado threat that's kind of uptrended over the last 24 hours, and it can continue to uptrend all the way up until tomorrow. And I'm talking about like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, northeast Texas, maybe even portions of southern Oklahoma. We're going to talk about that right at the beginning of this video because it needs to be spoken on, because I could see something like this uptrending to a 10% risk. Right now it's a 5% risk, but we're going to break down all this and what we do know. And I can tell you what we don't know is the true storm mode coming up for Tuesday. We can take a look at it for tomorrow, but remember, we're not in these short range models for Tuesday yet. So I can promise you we're going to break that system down in great detail, just like we did the last system in the couple days, leading up to it. We're going to zoom in on states. We're going to talk about towns. We're going to do exactly what we did, when we broke down the last system, the day or two prior. So stick with me with that, but all we can look at right now is the global models. We can talk about the ingredients, and once we start to get about 24 to 48 hours out from right now, that's when we can really start to dig deep into this. But we're going to figure it out for you guys. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. Like for example, this morning's video, I thought I would get several thousand views, which would have been very successful. I've been very happy about that. But somehow it ended up getting 27,000 views. And that just goes to you guys clicking the like button, actually liking my content. And I hope you guys do. I put a lot of effort into it, but that doesn't necessarily mean not everybody likes it. And I completely understand that. I can take some heat. So, but thank y'all. Welcome to any new subscribers. We picked up a lot. Welcome to the family. And just thank y'all for the incredible support. If you folks got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, you know the deal. Please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can do so too. Quickly, I want to mention this. I try to do this once a week as an ambassador for the WeatherFlow-Tempest. It's a weather station. I just want to, take an opportunity to promote this weather station. And just want to let you guys know, if you're interested, chances are if you're watching this video, you're either interested that the weather, for weather that's coming, you're concerned, or either you just have an interest in weather and like watching weather content. But either way, this is a weather station, and it's a great weather station that I really think you folks would benefit investing in. Yes, it's not one of your cheaper weather stations. I'll admit that, but I have it in my backyard or out here. It has literally learned my backyard, and it literally generates a forecast. You can look on your phone, and you can be at work, and it will tell you what the temperature is outside. It'll tell you all kinds of things, all the weather readings. It's an incredible weather station, and I've never seen one that actually learns your backyard, your front yard, wherever you put this thing. So if you're interested in investing in one, there's a 10% off promo code for Mitch West Weather in the description under the video. I'm telling you guys, it's a great weather station. Just let me know if you got any questions. I would love to answer them. But definitely check this out. With that being said, let's get rolling. Water vapor loop. So the leftovers of our system, this is, created a lot of nasty weather. It continues to. We just had a tornado in Delaware about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So this has already, created confirmed tornadoes in areas of the Delmarva, and we'll see what this does. I haven't looked at my phone in about 45 minutes because I've been working on this video, but we'll see what this does for the southern New England area. Let me know what you guys see. And I want to quickly mention I haven't been able to answer any comments from this morning's video. And I promise you I'll answer everything tomorrow morning. It's been a very busy day in the West household. But there has been some storms down here to the south. I actually chased a little bit today in my own backyard in South Carolina, but not a whole lot happened. A storm completely fell apart on me when I got up on it, but it's just the way it is. But this system will finally exit. This has been a deadly system, a life-changing system, and we'll finally get rid of it. Good riddance. But you see this little spin. It might be a little hard to see on your screen. Right here, there's a little bit of a little swirl. This swirl is a little shortwave trough, and it'll work its way kind of in this general direction. It's a little piece of energy that's kind of lost in the main flow. This will help pull a lot of low-level moisture into Texas tomorrow. Some high surface moisture. It'll bring its own little low-level jet into this region, little 30, 40 knot low-level jet, big-time surface heating, and big-time Cape readings, and you're going to have a tornado risk in this area probably tomorrow. And we'll see if we'll get a 10% risk up. I would not be surprised one bit. So we cannot let this slip under the radar for tomorrow, because this does include the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so let's go on and talk about that. Slight risk for Dallas and all the small towns and communities surrounding the Dallas-Fort Worth area, okay? Let's go on and just zoom in, okay? Dallas-Fort Worth and places around it. I promise you tomorrow morning I'll have my Google Maps up, and I'll try to mention a couple other towns and cities. But hopefully, if you're from Texas, you know the map of Texas pretty well. And that's not me being smart, but there's a lot of people that just... unfortunately, and I think this is unsafe, honestly, there's a lot of people that don't even quite know where they are on a map. You definitely need to know where you are on a map, guys. But a marginal risk that surrounds this slight risk. And let's talk about the tornado risk. This brown area, that is a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location. I think the worst will be south of Dallas and Fort Worth area, but you guys do have that 5% risk. But once you get south and southwest and west of town, that 5% risk of a tornado. Hail threat, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes up to 30% chance too. With such a big area of low-level moisture that builds in this area, you're going to have a lot of cape. A cape bomb is what we call it. When we have a ton of cape, this normally produces a lot of large hail. We'll see what happens, but entire area in the slight has that 15% risk of 1 inch or diameter or larger in hail. Wind, not a big wind threat tomorrow, but you still get the 2% risk of winds pushing 50 knots or higher. So let's talk about how this can unfold tomorrow. If you're confused about what time frame we were at, this is 3 p.m., but back it up 1 hour because this is Central Time, and 3 p.m. would be Eastern Time. This is getting into tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and this is when the storms explode very quickly. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth area right in here. Storms explode just to the west of the city. Look at this big, nasty storm just outside of Weatherford, Texas. They ride kind of the Red River, if you will. Big storms developing also southeast of Texas. And these will have a spin to them. They'll be pretty fast moving too. Okay, this will develop. And by the time we're in 5 p.m., these storms are trying to move past the Dallas-Fort Worth area and getting more so into northeast Texas, riding that Red River, starting to get into southeast Oklahoma. And then some more storms will try to develop behind them. Okay, and we'll see what these storms do, but these storms will have a chance to produce a tornado and definitely will have a chance to produce large hail. So I would say there's going to be a boundary somewhere in here where your better low-level moisture will be, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But these storms will keep moving, and, they could maintain severe limits all the way into Arkansas, southwest Arkansas, and then maybe northwest Louisiana. But I think the worst weather will be right here in North Texas. And, I mean, look at this big-time cell moving right over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right here, these two counties, which is the Dallas-Fort Worth area, around 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. This could, cause a lot of ruckus in the area, large hail, and a potential tornado threat with a tongue of deep moisture right into this area. So please be careful. We'll talk about this again in the morning. We'll give you some updated information. And these storms continue to trail off into northeast Texas all the way through midnight. But a very active period, just a little cluster of storms that cover up northern and northeast Texas, and then central and really southern Oklahoma. Really what's going into this is, we'll talk about this, and I got a lot of pivotal weather graphics up, and a lot of times it takes them about 2 seconds to pull the screen up. So if the screen goes wide, it's not you, it's my screen. But really what happens here as we're getting into tomorrow morning, a lot of deep moisture. In fact, you'll wake up tomorrow with some crisp, dry air in North Texas. You're thinking, how in the world is severe weather coming? You'll wake up with dew points in the 30s and the 40s. But quickly, and I mean quickly, dew points will quickly rise into the 60s, mid-60s, all the way up into Weatherford, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, all the surrounding towns and communities, maybe even Abilene. And this is why you have that tornado threat, because you have this moisture that replaces the dry air mass, and you got dew points well into the 60s, which is an ingredient. It's a thermodynamic for severe weather. So this will be a big deal. This quickly rises all the way into southern Oklahoma, and you have a pretty moist air mass tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, okay? And I mean, in certain areas, tomorrow evening, you might have dew points in the 70s. So you have that. In response, excuse me, the ML Cape, mixed layer Cape, which is the best thing to look at, in my opinion, when it comes to Cape. I mean, already by the time you hit, I would say lunchtime, 1 o'clock, in Central Texas, you got Cape values over 1,500 joules per kilogram with big-time surface heating rolling up. And then Dallas-Fort Worth area right here, Weatherford up here. Look at these storms that explode. These aren't storms as the Cape values, but you got Cape that rises over 2,000 joules per kilogram mixed layer Cape. And immediately you'll see, how it spaces out right in here. That's where it's showing the initiation of storms that build off that storm fuel. But this is some high-end fuel. Cape values almost at 2,500 joules per kilogram. This will rise into the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we'll have Cape values well over 1,000. And so you got plenty of fuel to the atmosphere, which is your Cape. Okay, in response, you have a skinny low-level jet in response to this short wave that shoots over. I've seen this many times before. You do not need a powerful low-level jet, low-level winds to have a tornado threat. Winds, that are about 4, 5, 6,000 feet up in the air. This will do 20, 25, 30, 40 knot low-level jet over this area. And that will support severe weather, especially, look at this area in kind of eastern and northern Texas. You got a 30 to 40 knot low-level jet ahead, and that is enough. Coming out the southwest, this is going to create some tornadoes in North Texas tomorrow. In fact, I would argue that a 30 to 40 knot low-level jet, as opposed to like one of these 60 to 70 knot low-level jets, 30 to 40 knots, remember that's like 35 to 45 miles per hour. Always multiply that by like 1.15 or something like that. Trust me, I don't have the entire knots conversion memorized by anything by heart anyways. I just kind of give ballpark figures. But this is enough winds aloft, what we call kinematics, to definitely cause issues in North Texas tomorrow. You definitely have that here. So let's go to Tuesday. Day 4. We have a day 4 enhanced risk for basically, let's just say the entire state of Missouri, and I would say 90% of Illinois. This almost includes Chicago. It includes southern and southeast Iowa. This does include Des Moines, and this includes, once again, Arkansas, but northern Arkansas. But you also have a slight risk that, expands from a corner of northeast Texas all the way up through northern portions of Iowa, all the way up to Milwaukee, all the way to Ohio, all the way and cuts Kentucky and Kentucky and Tennessee in half, and then once again includes northern Mississippi. It's like deja vu, guys. We keep having this, and I wouldn't be surprised for day 5 for our Wednesday, we have a severe weather threat. But I'm not going to call it, but I really think we're going to wake up to a day 3 moderate risk, which is a level 4 out of 5 at 3 days out. That's extremely confident. That means we have some pretty high confidence that something bad's coming. Okay, severe weather-wise. So there's also the snow part of this. A blizzard coming from the 3rd to the 5th. I know this is going to be kind of small to see on the screen, and I can't make it any bigger, unfortunately, but we're going to talk deeper on this. But this is from the National Weather Service. You want to freeze the video right here and read it. But this red outlined area, blizzard more than likely expected with feet of snow. And look at this entire area, saying a 50% chance or greater of 50 mile per hour gust. This includes a massive portion of the country. This is going to be another low pressure that is going to deepen. And I know I don't show this, and a lot of people be like, what are you showing me? I'm just seeing like orange and blue. But this is the 500 millibar track. So this is troughing. The orange or warmer colors, that's ridging. So once again, you have a deep upper trough that digs down into the west. Monday. And then with it, a surface low develops right over basically the Rockies. This ejects probably out of maybe northeast Colorado into Nebraska. And in response, you'll stop it here. This is for Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. You have a gradient between a ridge and troughing with a low pressure somewhere in here. And then you have a clashing of classic air masses right into here. And this is where you have severe weather. And on the cold side of this, you have a very, I'm so sorry, excuse me, a very angry and maybe historic blizzard. I mean, this is going to be a raging blizzard here. So let's talk about how this can unfold. Remember, we're in global models, so we cannot get very detailed with where these storms could potentially be. All we can do is talk about global models. But on the severe weather side of things, we're getting to Tuesday morning, already maybe some convection in Indiana, areas of the Midwest. But as we get into Tuesday midday, then Tuesday afternoon, now these aren't gigantic supercells, right? But what this is telling me here as we're about Tuesday afternoon is you have the potential for what we call prefrontal storms, prefrontal supercells. So you have normally the frontal storms, which normally is a squall line with embedded tornadoes sometimes. And then you have prefrontal storms. It's the prefrontal storms that can be dangerous because it's storms that are well out ahead of the trailing cold front. Remember, behind the cold front is all this stable air. Once the cold front passes, normally you're done with a severe weather threat. Ahead of the cold front, you have a lot of moisture building in normally from the south. And a lot of ingredients, kinematic-wise, and mainly thermodynamic-wise, to support severe weather. So, what this is telling me from the European is that you're going to have the chance for supercells from Iowa, all of Missouri, and areas of Arkansas, and then surrounding states. They keep moving. And I know I have Wisconsin cut off, but trust me, we're going to get detailed for everybody. Just know there's a severe weather threat up into southern Wisconsin also. But in general, it's showing this little splotchiness is telling me there's going to be supercells. Okay, the environment, it's going to be violent for severe weather. Okay, and then here comes the trailing cold front late Tuesday afternoon into late Tuesday evening, and this alone will probably be a very dangerous line of storms that kind of develops in the plains and sweeps through Missouri, maybe southern Iowa, and eventually into Arkansas. And when we have to see what happens downstream on the southern end of this as we're waking up Tuesday morning. So, dangerous storm. What we can talk about is the ingredients. A ton of low-level moisture will start us off Monday morning. There's already moisture down here to the south. These are dew points. This is what we call a thermodynamic. Okay, when you have dew points in the 60s, that's when it's starting to become supportive for severe weather. Low 70s, if you got low 70 dew points mixed with winds aloft, then you have a dangerous situation because normally low 70 dew points, you're going to have CAPE in the atmosphere. But you're getting into Monday afternoon, and then you're waking up Tuesday morning, and suddenly you have dew points into the 60s up into St. Louis, Columbia, Missouri, all of southern Illinois, and deep moisture down here into Arkansas, western Mississippi, northern Mississippi, western Tennessee. Look at this pool of 70 plus dew points. And then as we get into the prime of the day, Tuesday afternoon, you have a moist sector that is massive, and it goes all the way up potentially into southern Wisconsin. Heck, it might even reach southern sections of Minnesota. And not just a moist sector, guys, but you have dew points well into the 60s, pockets of 70-degree dew points, and just deep, rich moisture. The dew points will be even higher in this setup, which is even more dangerous. In response to all this moisture, and check this out. This is what I mean by a trailing cold front. All these high-end dew points ahead of this, when this cold front moves through, Look at the dry, crisp air that comes in. You're not going to get any severe weather with dew points in the 20s and 30s. All right, in response to these higher dew points, already Tuesday morning, you have Cape on the global models, which is saying a lot, above 2,000 joules per kilogram Tuesday morning. But look, as we're getting into Tuesday midday, early afternoon, Cape values in Missouri, guys, over 3,000 joules per kilogram. That is rocket fuel mixed in with all these other ingredients for these storms to absolutely explode. And this trails all the way into Iowa, western Illinois, and this is dangerous down here too, into western Tennessee, Arkansas, the boot heel of Missouri, even down here into Mississippi. Extremely dangerous environment. Tons of fuel ready for these storms to fuel off of. And even associated with this line down south, you got a lot of Cape that builds. Next thing you look at is the kinematics, that low-level jet. And we're going to have another windstorm for a lot of people. Already, we'll take it all the way to Tuesday afternoon. You have a low-level jet around 40 to 50 at times, 60 knots. The European is a little bit more aggressive with this, but like I said, if this was just a widespread 30 to 40 knot low-level jet, this would support dangerous weather. Instead, you got a 40, 50 at times 60 knot low-level jet, tons of low-level winds, several thousand feet above our heads. So this is coming almost straight out the south, maybe a little southwest orientation to it. And then you got the mid-level jet coming out the southwest at even higher speeds. Directional shear, speed shears, all there, and we have a dangerous environment. And even as we get into Tuesday evening, this is when the low-level jet ramps up well over 50, at times 60 knots. And then as we get into late Tuesday evening, this is when it gets big, 60 to 70 knot low-level jets. And this is when we will have probably damaging winds that become a huge deal in the Mississippi Valley, up here in the Midwest, and all the way down to the south, guys. This is going to be a big deal for sure. And Indiana, you guys too, but it looks like it's going to be the worst to your west. But this could be a rocky night, Wednesday night, even for Indiana. Let's talk about the severe weather portion. The winter weather portion of this. As early as Monday morning, you're going to have heavy snow breaking out over southern Wyoming. This will continue. I think this will be more so southern Wyoming to eastern Wyoming. Heavy snow will continue all day Monday, all night Monday night. Tuesday morning, still an all-out snowstorm ongoing. It'll be blizzard conditions probably in eastern Wyoming. South Dakota, blizzard cranks up, winds gusting to 40, 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. I think the far northwest corner of Nebraska will have blizzard conditions, and we'll take it out to midday Tuesday, just an all-out 2 to 3 inch per hour snowstorm ongoing in South Dakota. Heavy snow in northwest Nebraska. But of course, you go right down here to southeast Nebraska, and where the low pressure plows right over, and you're probably going to get dry slotted, one, and two. It's just going to be too warm. But this is a massive blizzard for South Dakota, and it continues all the way into Tuesday night. Tuesday morning, it's still snowing. And this really, turns up for North Dakota, I would say, late Tuesday. And, we'll go on and switch it to Minnesota. And, this could be a pretty big event for the northern half of Minnesota. Could have a corridor of some nasty icing somewhere in maybe central Minnesota in the middle of the night, Tuesday night. But it's pretty wild. The low pressure is literally right here. Right when you get to the northern end, it's cold enough for snow. But this is very heavy snow. The dynamics will be high. This will be, a strengthening low pressure at some point. So the precipitation will be quite heavy. But this continues. We get all the way into Wednesday morning. You're still getting heavy snow thrown back into the Dakotas. And, we certainly have to watch the UP of Michigan, even northern Wisconsin. But I think this is going to cut a little bit further west than our system yesterday. But this is going to be a massive winter weather event. Blend of all models for Wyoming. This little pocket right here, that's over 2 feet of snow. We'll talk about some individual cities here in the coming days, but basically eastern, especially southeastern Wyoming, 1 to 2 feet of snow. We talk about Nebraska. Southeast part of the state, nothing. Northwest part of the state, a foot, foot and a half of snow. Somewhere right in here, 6 to 10 inches of snow. Okay, it's going to be tough to narrow it down, but I'll try to mention some cities tomorrow and try to get you guys a little bit better idea. But right now, this is the blend of all models for Nebraska. You see how the state is certainly cut in half diagonally, if you will. But let's, talk about the Dakotas, and hopefully I can find it here. Come on. Well, I wanted to show the Dakotas, but I guess I'm just kind of, you guys on the screen are probably pointing right to it, and I'm just looking right over it. Man, this is the most I've ever struggled right in the middle of a video. So, there we go. It's right here. So I wasn't, clueless. But South Dakota and North Dakota, I think everybody in South Dakota is going to see snow, but once you work your way into northern South Dakota, central points west, widespread 1 to 2 feet of snow. Someone could get 2.5 feet. Someone could get over 30 inches of snow. It's possible. And then basically the western half of North Dakota, same kind of deal. Yes. Someone in probably eastern, the eastern half of Dakota is probably going to get over 2 feet of snow. And then, talking about Minneapolis, we'll have to go back to the states. Minnesota. I like to call the state the city. But Minneapolis, you're kind of in a weird spot. Not sure if you'll get snow off this. If you do, it won't be a lot. But once you go north, International Falls, you're going to get well over a foot of snow, maybe a foot and a half. This is going to be a big late season April snowstorm for you guys. You're going to get impacted by a lot. Just widespread over foot, foot and a half snowfall totals. And there will be an icing risk up in here. Okay, maybe a glaze of ice mixed into this. So. Winds are going to be a big deal. Starting off Tuesday morning, winds are already picking up 20, 25, 30 mile per hour wind gusts. But as we're getting into Tuesday afternoon, heavy snow will be falling. You have, consistent, probably 20, 30, 35 mile per hour winds. Gusts probably pushing 50 miles per hour in certain areas, especially the closer you are to this low pressure. And then, we're getting into the middle of the night, Tuesday night. And you have 50 mile per hour wind gust cranking up with heavy snow. Look right here. Look right here in the northeast sections of Minnesota. You'll probably get blizzard warnings even up here. 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts right near Lake Superior. But good gracious, it's still snowing Wednesday morning, and 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts begin to develop from the Dakotas down to Nebraska and to Iowa, and even pushing 60 to 65, 70 mile per hour wind gusts on the backside of this low. Pretty crazy weather coming up, guys. I'm out of breath. It's going to be some long videos coming up, so I need to quit crying and just get my voice ready. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and I'll do my best here on Mitch West Weather to keep you guys updated. God bless.